This broadcast is a Stephen K. Media production.
The success of the small business person is the cornerstone of the American economy. Welcome to the Small Business Today Show with your hosts, Cruz and Hughes. The Small Business Today Show is for and about small business advancement and development. What we do for you. We'll be taking your calls as we provide you small business intelligence and mentorship needed to grow your business creatively. Keep listening. The Small Business Today Show with starts now.
Hello and welcome back to today's episode of Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes right here on Blog Talk Radio. And this is the place where we discuss the topics that inspires entrepreneurs from thought to action. If you want to join the conversation and speak to Irvin and myself, ask a question, give us a piece of your mind by calling 347-857-3958. Again, the number here to the studio is 347-857-3958. Irv, my friend.
Yes, sir.
How are you today, sir?
I'm wonderful, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well.
Man, I heard you won $600 million the other day. That's like awesome. What do you do with that kind of money, John?
Well, one thing I don't do is stop doing this show.
Yeah, well, that's a wonderful thing, man. You won $600 million and you still came back to do Cruz and Hughes.
It's the least that I could do.
It's the least that you could do. Now, I'm just curious. What do you do with that kind of money?
Well, if I had it, I'd let you know.
What do you mean? You hadn't gone and picked it up yet?
No, I didn't win. You
didn't win?
My ticket missed by 6 numbers.
Oh,
I was this close.
Well, I heard you had the Powerball number, correct?
No, I didn't even have that one.
You didn't have that one either?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't a good night.
It
wasn't a good night.
Wasn't a good night at all.
So I'm back doing this.
Oh man, I'll tell you, all of our listeners around the country are going, oh,
so close.
Man, just so close. So, John, what would you do with $600 million?
That's a really good question.
Uh-huh.
I think the first thing that I would do is do nothing.
Yeah.
Because, I'm always one that believes that the first thing that comes into your mind generally is the thing that you should avoid doing. The first thing that comes across your tongue is the thing that you should avoid saying. So just take a minute, take it all in.
That's right.
Relax for a couple days.
Yeah.
And start thinking some things through clearly.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Would you be excited?
Very.
You'd be excited.
Yeah.
Even though you hadn't gone and collected your money yet.
Absolutely,
You'd be excited right then.
I would be excited.
All right. So,
but I'll tell you what I wouldn't do.
I
wouldn't do anything like buy a car, buy a house, or I'd try to put a plan together to grow it into $1 billion.
Okay, well, I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
So I'd be looking to make some big investments and change the world and do some things like that with it.
I heard that when you win a big lottery like that,
right,
that they take out all the taxes and expenses, and if you decide to take a lump sum, they shrink that number down
$300 million
to $300 million, or thereabouts.
That's
maybe
steep.
$250 million.
Oh,
right?
Man.
Yeah. But here's the point: $250 million today, you could probably turn into $1 billion.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a recession going on, but not for you.
Yeah. You'd pick up some assets on the cheap and put them back out there in the market when times are good.
You wouldn't know anything at all about that, though.
Not very little.
Yeah. You just.
Now you're asking me this question. I mean, what would you do
with $600 million? Oh, I'd go buy stuff.
But look.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would do.
Companies
I would buy stuff. Yeah, islands.
But would you take it all at one time, or would you let them?
No, I would absolutely take it all at one time.
Why would you do that?
In case something happens to me, I'd like the last check that I write to bounce.
So you're gonna write one for $251 million.
Well, yeah, there you go, $251 million, and good luck. No, I'm messing around, but no, seriously. I mean, there's great opportunities out there for somebody who's got a load of money if they've got a plan. I've got a kind of a philosophy, John, that money is a funny kind of thing. It needs to always be under control, always. Mm-hmm. And the instant it's not under your control, then it's dangerous.
Absolutely.
Money is a funny kind of thing. And what I mean by that is under control, it can warm your feet and cook your food.
Mm-hmm.
Out of control, burn your house down and kill you.
Absolutely.
And, money is a lot like fire that way. And unfortunately, a lot of people who come into lump sums of money very quickly when they've never had that kind of money really don't know what to do.
Yeah. That's true.
And so that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about our guest today, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can think of the first person I'd call. if I won $600 million.
An attorney.
I'd call an attorney. Help me.
Before I lose all of this
But
money.
I am scared out of my mind. Help me.
Well, I tell you what, with that setup, let me introduce today's guest. If you're watching us at cruiseandhughes.com, you know that we always have a live stream there just for your viewing pleasure to let you see what Irv and I do in the studio. Or you're always welcome to log right into Blog Talk, and Irv and I come at you live at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time all the way to the 6 o'clock hour. Monday through Friday. We do our very best to bring in guests like the one that we have today. So if you're watching online, to Irvin's left, you will see Mr. Paul Kellogg. He is a partner in the law firm called Hughes, Waters, and Askenaze.
There you go.
Man,
Awesome.
There you go.
I've been working on that
He
for
nailed
about
it, Paul.
30 minutes.
If you can pronounce that, I'll give you an hour's free legal time.
Askenaze. Well, Mr. Paul Kellogg is a partner with the firm. It's a Houston-based law firm, and he's been practicing as an attorney for 14 years. Now, Paul earned a Bachelor's of Arts degree and 2 advanced degrees before becoming a lawyer, and he was business manager and worked as a community liaison and issue analyst for 2 mayors of Houston, and 2 of my favorite mayors, Miss Kathy Whitmire, as well as Mr. Bob Lanier. And Paul was named by Law and Politics magazine as Texas Monthly to its Rising Stars list from 2004 to 2008, and this recognition is awarded to top attorneys under 40 or to those who are older but have been practicing law for less than 10 years. And I want to say welcome to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, we're going to have some fun today. We're going to talk about some small business stuff because I understand that is your particular area of specialty, is it not?
That's what I do is small business from formation to doing contracts, employment agreements, adding investors, all the things that a small business does. We like to say that we're sort of a general counsel.
Sure.
For companies that's too small to have a lawyer on staff.
That's
Because
awesome.
There are always things that are coming up
Yeah.
that need to be dealt with. So
And there are a lot of companies that fit into that to that size bracket there. So now tell me, what attracted you? Now, when you considered going to law school, what attracted you to small business matters?
well, actually, I wasn't going to go that way originally.
What was it going to be originally? I'm curious.
I was going to do something very obscure.
He's going into the CIA.
That's right. That's right. No, it was sort of fiduciary responsibility programs, federal stuff like that. But it was too obscure.
Okay.
And it wasn't very interesting to me.
Okay.
So I just switched over, and I happened to get a job with somebody who did small business law, and I really, really liked it.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and Irv and I, we love being in small business almost
Yep.
for the same reasons.
Yep,
I mean, we
that's
sort of
exactly right.
fell into this and wouldn't want to be anyplace else.
Well, that's right. And the good thing about it is the people that I deal with really need the help.
Sure.
When they come, like you say, you come to a lawyer and say, "Oh my gosh, I really need help with this."
That's right.
And we can give them a solution.
Sure.
It doesn't cost too much, and we can help them work through all these issues. And my clients tend to be very grateful.
Yeah.
Just that somebody sat down and talked to them and walked them through what they needed to do, because if you've never done it before, you don't even know where to start.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
That's very true.
And as an entrepreneur, I think that what we always need are options. We need to know what our options are.
Right.
We can make our own decisions,
Right.
but man, how much better would my decision be if I knew all of the options that existed to me and where some of the pitfalls may lie?
Absolutely.
And I know that having an attorney to help you out as you take on business matters is essential.
Yeah. Well, it is, because the other people I see are the ones who tried to do it on their own.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
And just made an awful mess out of it.
Yeah.
And then it takes twice as long, it's twice as painful, it's twice as expensive.
Yeah.
And some things just can't be fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to. So.
Now, tell me about your college years. Now, you decided to get 2 degrees before becoming a student of law.
I got an undergrad, and then when I was working for the city, I decided to get a master's of public administration from U of H.
That helps.
Well, it should have. but there were not a lot of positions to move around to, frankly, at the city, and I was sort of getting dead-ended, I thought. So my wife was a lawyer. I'd been with her since she was a third-year law student, and she was having way too much fun.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. So I said, this is a good test of your intelligence and all that sort of stuff. It looked fascinating to me. So about the same day that I got my master's degree in the mail, I signed up for law school.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And what did your wife say about that? I mean, you're about to go back to school again?
Yeah, she did. She was all for it.
Supporting.
Yeah.
That's very good.
By that time, she'd been a lawyer for, 12 years or so.
Oh,
her mom went to law school when she was in her 50s.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a whole family full of them. It's like a nest of lawyers.
A nest.
Yeah, a coven or something. I don't know.
I can only imagine what Thanksgiving is like over there at
Can
their
you
house.
imagine that? Man, I mean, heaven forbid you take somebody's turkey wing or something. Man, you could wind up in some serious litigation around that
Oh,
camp.
my goodness.
Wow.
No, we fight like East Texas people.
Oh, do you? Okay, all right.
Get your knife and
Yeah,
your
yeah,
fork out,
yeah.
you
We're
know.
gonna get after it.
Yeah, that's right.
There could be bloodshed.
That's right. That's right.
Now, Paul, again, I'd like to say that you are the partner at Hughes, Waters, and Askenase. If someone wants to get in touch with you, if they're in small business and they have some questions, how could they reach you?
Well, my direct line is always a good one, 713-328-2832.
Okay.
Or on our website, which is www.hwa.com.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back, and Irv and I are going to fire some questions off and sort of ask some things that we're certain that other entrepreneurs have asked before, and also pick your brain in terms of some things that small business people would do good to look out for if they want to stay out of litigation.
Okay.
All right. Our guest today is Mr. Paul Kellogg. He's a partner with Hughes, Waters, and Askenase. Don't go away, guys. You're in the right place to get some great information about how to run your business from a legal standpoint. You're listening to John Cruz and Irv Hughes, and this is Cruz and Hughes, which is brought to you by Small Business Today magazine. It is the magazine that is for and about Houston's entrepreneurs. If you want to learn more about getting your business in shape, if you want to learn more about some tax issues, we have great articles on all subjects entrepreneurial. To get a free copy of the book that we put out each and every month, all you have to do is go to smallbusinesstodaymagazine.com and put your information in. We'll send one to you free each and every month. More in a moment with Mr. Paul Kellogg. Stay with us.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come by my...
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Okay, welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us here on Cruz and Hughes, our guest today is Mr. Paul Kellogg. He is a partner with the firm Hughes, Waters, and Askenaze. We're talking about the legal aspects of being in small business, and we're picking his brain, and we haven't paid him anything for this hour. So, guys, I mean, we're getting our money's worth here. So we want to make certain that you guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask, you can go right into the chat room, put them in, or if you want to give us a phone call, you can do so by dialing 347-857-3958. Now, we left off talking a little bit about you going back to school and getting your law degree, and we know that you've been practicing for over 14 years now. And let's talk a little bit about in business when you're getting started. And just like you said in the first segment, most people do not have a budget to have a lawyer on staff all the time. What are some of the things that you would tell a small business person that they definitely should incorporate a lawyer for when you're getting started, when you're launching that venture?
Well, I think the first thing people do that sounds like a money saver but is really not a good idea is to just blindly use online business formation forms. Because they're very generic and they don't have all the things that you really need to have in them. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of people lately come to me and say, okay, now my business is a mess. I don't know what to do with my partner, or I need to raise funds. And this 2-page agreement that I have just doesn't address that. So, then you have to reconstruct something new. Mm-hmm. And you have to get everybody to agree on it, which can be a lot harder when you've gotten down the road like that. Yeah. So, spend a little more up front to get things done right from the very beginning. And any kinds of contracts, people will go in and start signing things before they've even formed the company, and that makes them personally liable.
That's right.
And you don't want to do that because a lot of times they will not unwind that contract, and you're in it for however many years it is, and you've got a personal guarantee. You have all sorts of things tied into that.
One of the things that I see go wrong all the time, Irv, is signing a lease.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And some people just assume that if I have especially as it relates to having a commercial lease, because a lot of those forms aren't promulgated. It's drawn up by the landlord. And if you have an agent, your agent is not an attorney. So some of the times I see, they'll just take that lease, Paul, give it to you, tell you to read over it, and sign it. And you really haven't had anyone to sit down and discuss with you what some of those terms actually mean.
That's right. That's another thing is most people don't realize that there are little hidden traps out there in most kinds of businesses. And leases can be fair and not so fair. And you need somebody, and I get a lot of people say that, just tell me where the bombs are, so they don't step on them.
Yeah, the landmines.
And that's fine, but you do need to know, hey, you need to be aware of this. You may not be able to change it, but you need to plan for it and know that it's out there.
You need to know what you're getting into.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing for me, coming in, from my background in banking, that was really one of the things that caused me to leave the bank is because, I would have, when I was in the bank, and John, you and I have talked about this too, and Paul, you can probably relate to this, people would come into the bank and by themselves, and they would sign 1.5 inches of documentation.
That's right.
And would not say, hey, give me a sample of what I'm going to sign.
In advance, that's right.
Up front, let me have it reviewed. And, nobody would do that.
Right.
But now here I am. I come out of the bank, right? I came out, 13, so, 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. Start my own consulting firm. I have a 1-page consulting agreement. 1 page. It says, here's the hourly. Here's what you're going to pay me. Here's what the deliverables are going to be, so on and so forth. 1 page. Doesn't say anything in there purposefully. And it says if you don't pay me, I have the right to chase you. Yeah. It does say that. But here's the thing. It doesn't say that I'm going to come and start taking stuff away from you.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
But they'll pay an attorney literally, and I shouldn't say this in front of an attorney, but they pay an attorney $300 an hour to review my 1-page agreement. But they won't pay the attorney to go to the bank and sit with them and at least
sign 1.5 inches of documentation.
And sign 1.5 inches of documentation.
Absolutely.
They'll do that by themselves, but they'll have an attorney review my one pager.
And you know what? You know what the difference is in all that
What's
scenario?
the difference?
The difference is that I'm about to write you a check. And when I go to the bank, they're about to write me a check. So I'm going to sign anything I have to get to the money.
And
that's not always smart.
That's not smart at all. Because, see, to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but see, I think that the bank, those are the people who can really hurt you bad.
Oh, that's right. That's absolutely right. And that's a lot of what happened in the mortgage crisis. And another thing I do, I have two hats, and the other one is mortgage lending, pretty much. And it's amazing. We all go in and do the closings on buying houses, home equity loans, or whatever. Nobody ever reads those things. But there are all sorts of protections for the bank.
Yeah, absolutely.
In those documents.
Right.
And people say, well, you didn't tell me, but it's in this 16-page mortgage, It's right here. And that's why a lot of people are not winning lawsuits against banks about their mortgages. And because all that stuff is in there, they just didn't know it. Or people came in and said, great, I'm going to get a mortgage. I don't care what the terms are. But the fact is, there were some ugly terms hidden in some of those agreements. So,
and me, I've always been of the mindset that whoever authors that agreement, whoever writes it, it's already, I should expect that it's written with their interest.
Of
in
course.
their best
Absolutely.
interest.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if that's really how it is in the legal world, but that's how, if you present me a contract, I'm going to read it and have my attorney read it and then tell me exactly what it is that I've just read, because I know that if you wrote the contract, there's some language in there that protects you in ways that I may need to know about.
absolutely. And most of the contracts I see are pretty reasonable. I mean, they're not terrible hidden things in there, but they are skewed toward the person who wrote the contract.
Of course. Yeah, sure.
And the fact is that most people don't actually sue on contracts. They work it out. Most businesses do. But still, you need to know what you're getting into.
Do you encourage people to work it out when there's a fight between two parties for whatever reason? Do you encourage them to work it out?
Absolutely. Because to be really honest, and I'll probably be shot by my fellow lawyers for this, litigation is expensive.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go there unless you have enough at stake that it makes it worthwhile.
Sure.
So
And I love that. Yeah, it's got to be really worth it.
So, so Paul, it sounds like you're more entrepreneur than attorney.
Well, I spent so many years not being an attorney.
I see.
And being a grown-up in business and things like that I come at it with a much more practical standpoint, I think.
Sure.
And I'm not going to sit there and tell people stuff just to put money in my own pocket.
So just you go over there and just rile them up real good. Say, hey, let's go get them. Let's go get everybody. Let's sue everybody.
I'm too blunt.
You know what?
Most lawyers are kind of, there's little hedge words and things, but I tend to tell people exactly what I'm thinking. And
certainly. And that works. That works best.
Absolutely.
I think you might as well tell people the straight up truth.
Yeah.
Let's talk about owning a business in Texas. I know that Irv and I, we talked on the show all the time that we're a little biased because we're from Texas.
Absolutely.
But we feel like Texas is really a great place to own and operate and run a business. Are there any advantages to having your business here in Texas, having a Texas corporation versus some of the other popular places like Nevada or what's the place out on the
Delaware?
East Coast? There you go. They make great punch too, I hear.
Yes, they do. I can vouch for
But what are your thoughts on that?
There are still some advantages maybe to Delaware and Nevada. Nevada has no income tax on businesses. And here we have the margin tax, but you only pay it if you make more than a million a year, and it's a puny amount, and it's really not that big a burden. And I think in a lot of other ways, it's better to be in Texas. We have lower costs, lower cost of living. It's easy to form a business, low regulation.
Yes, that was the part we talked about.
Yeah, and low fees and licensing and like that. So those things add up to me. And the advantages of the other states, they sort of decrease when you look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, I need to ask this question because a lot of our listeners are here in Texas. Oftentimes, I run across businesses that have been formed in Nevada, formed in Wyoming or Montana, or formed in Delaware, but the shareholders live here in Texas, and they want to do business here in Texas. Now, my understanding is that if you do that, now you have a foreign company that wants to do business in Texas.
Right.
And my understanding is you got to pay for that. Is that true? Or
That's true. In fact, you better not be doing active business here without being registered with the state, because you can get into a lot of trouble for taxes and fines and things like that. So if you have a company that's formed anywhere other than Texas and you want to come in and actively do business here, you register with the state. It costs $750, no matter what kind of entity.
And that's for foreign corp status.
Any kind.
Okay.
Corporations, LLCs, partnerships.
Okay.
You know, that kind of thing. And that gives you the authority to do business in Texas.
Okay.
And it's a one-time fee. So it's well worth it if you really want to access a growing market like Texas.
But when is it truly worth it? I mean, would you say for someone that lives here in Texas?
Yeah, why didn't you just incorporate in Texas?
Yeah, to do a corporation outside of the state's boundaries.
Well, see, that's the problem. You go to Nevada for the break from taxes, but actually you're making all your money in Texas.
Yeah.
And so you're going to be paying taxes here anyway. On selling goods and stuff. So, when you look at it, it really doesn't make as much sense.
Sounds like some marketing spin to sell corporations in Nevada.
Well, one of the first things you need a lawyer for is to sit down and say, what are you going to do and what kind of business structure is the best for that? How many people are involved? How active are they going to be? Are you looking to go public many years down the road? I mean,
what's your strategy?
Right.
And how does you having a corporation that's outside of the Texas state line, how does that benefit your strategy? How does that? Because most of the people that I run into that have an out of state corp aren't making any money anyway.
Well, that's true.
So why not just put the corporation here and lower your fees?
Right.
John, I'm hoping we can come back at some point in the show and talk about raising some money. Since we got the attorney here, can we talk about that?
A little bit.
Little bit. Not too much. Okay, all right, I'm for that. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by the Lexington Law Firm. Folks, if you need credit help, you can get the Lexington Law Firm to help you out. Don't forget to go to the Lexington Law Firm when you need credit help. You can give them a call today at 888-744-7081. More in a moment. Don't go away.
Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
With my Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus headset, I'm free. Free to talk to you while carrying a laptop bag, holding a cup of coffee, and fishing for my car keys. Now, you may ask me, Jim, is it really necessary to use the phone while doing all these things? And my answer is it really necessary not to? Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus. It's my so comfortable, why wouldn't I use it all day headset.
Get your Voyager Pro Plus at Plantronics.com.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Steve, Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse.
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Mr. Paul Kellogg. He is a partner with Hughes, Waters, and Askenaz, and they are a law firm. And they can definitely help you in your small business by reviewing contracts, giving you advice in terms of your structure. So you're in the right place. If you're listening to us now, if you have a question you want to call in, you can do so at 347-857-3958. Now, Paul, let's talk a little bit about corporate structure. We sort of joked about a couple things at the break, but is there a favorite structure that you have for most small businesses?
Well, these days, I tend to say that most people could use an LLC more than anything else.
Okay. Why do you say?
They're more flexible than a corporation in terms of how you allocate the ownership and the money that you put in and things like that. Everybody can be involved directly in it. And it has easier bookkeeping and easier tax accounting, I think, for a lot of people. You know, because your alternative to that's similar is the S corporation,
right?
But that has the special accounts,
and
and
some
all
limitations on
bookkeeping and the membership and all that kind of thing. And that's a little much for a lot of people who are starting out in business. Whereas an LLC is a nice, simple structure, pretty easy to understand. And people will come to me and say, "I want a partnership because me and my buddy, we're partners."
Oh boy!
But partnerships got some, the partnerships and corporations have been around hundreds of years. So there's a lot of rules, a lot of issues. And they don't have the kind of flexibility that people need, and they have more liability problems in a partnership.
Sure.
So that's why I'll say, let's do something a little simpler. An LLC has the same function as a partnership, and the same functions as a corporation. It's just a nice mix of the two.
Now, one of the things he mentioned, Irv, was records, and how often do you and I talk about
all the time?
Corporate records and the importance of keeping. Let's talk just a little bit about that importance, because so many entrepreneurs, and I was guilty of this for many, many years until I finally got sued, and they wanted to see my corporate record book, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And so what is the importance of keeping good, accurate records, and what could happen if you don't?
Well, if you don't have, particularly a corporation, regular meetings and the formal certificates and things, they can take you into court in a lawsuit and say, this corporation, it doesn't really function, it doesn't really exist. It's just this individual, so I'm going to sue him directly instead of his business, so he can't hide behind this corporate shield. So if you don't have those records and you've been mixing your funds and the company funds, you're in
paying
deep
personal
trouble.
Bills out of corporate money.
You're in deep trouble.
So there is some education that should go with you making the decision to become a corporation. There's some things that you can't do if you're just a DBA, and I think that we as business owners, sometimes we become so involved in what we do and how well we do it, we neglect to sit down and talk to our attorney and say, okay, now that I'm a corporation, how should I run this thing? Can I do what I used to do?
Yeah, what does that mean? And the answer is no. That's the short answer.
Well, that's right. And with it's really just corporations that have those formal meetings and rules and things like that. Another beauty of an LLC is you can set your own meetings or not have meetings. You can do this. You can do. You can have officers, not have officers, that kind of thing. So you
can make it as simple as you need to make it.
Yeah. There's just a lot less to keep track of,
and that's good for small business people.
Well, absolutely. One of the things that I run across, and Paul, maybe you can speak to this, is I run across small business owners, maybe 2 or 3, sometimes more, where because I finance contracts. That's what I do. That's one of my holdings. And one of the things that I run across is that in the space of contracting, oftentimes small business owners will want to get together on a particular contracting opportunity. Mm-hmm. But they all have their own business, and so they think they want to organize some sort of way to go after this contracting opportunity. In an LLC, saying that we choose that as a potential structure, if there's 5 companies or 3 companies that want to come together and operate together under this particular new entity, is an LLC a good structure for that or no? Should they do a limited partnership versus an LLC?
Well, an LLC, usually all of the main members are active in it.
Right.
And so if you're going to 5 companies and they all want an equal share and they probably want an equal say in what's going on, then I'd say an LLC.
Okay.
A limited partnership is like one person is going to run the business, the general partner. Okay. And everybody else just chips in their money and sits back and waits for the profits to roll. That's how that works.
Okay, all right.
So,
well, which generally is my favorite structure.
Yeah, of course, that's yours. Yeah. No, I appreciate that, though, because oftentimes I run across that, and it's a question that I know a lot of times people come to me with. Of course, I'm not an attorney, but it's good to know what's a good direction to point them in when they are going to go and get an attorney to put all this together.
Right. Well, and that just highlights too that you need a more sophisticated agreement. When something like that, than you're ever going to find online.
Yeah, because now you need a real operating agreement now, how these different entities are going to operate together.
Right. What if you need additional capital?
Yeah.
Who does a capital call?
That's right.
What if somebody doesn't hold up their end? Can you boot them out?
Yeah.
What if they go bankrupt?
What if somebody gets
sick? How do you get rid of them?
Or dies?
Right. Well, that's right. I always call it the 4 Ds. There's death, disability, divorce, and dysfunction. And those are real problems.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are not used to that because we have community property rules that really muck everything up.
Yeah.
Because when you put into invest in a business, if you use your regular bank account that belongs to you and your wife, she just got community property rights and that ownership interest. So you got to take care of that. If you ever get divorced, she's going to want to come and get her half of the value of that company. Yeah, surprise. Surprise. Yes.
Wow.
Is there any place we can get married to avoid that?
No.
I just thought I'd ask.
In Mexico, I think.
In Mexico.
Yeah, I think you might be safe there. Perhaps, but I'm not an attorney.
Yep.
But let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you do. I want to just sort of do a recap. You help form corporations.
Right.
You review as well as draw up contracts and agreements. Give me some of the other things that you can help small businesses do.
Well, these days there's a lot of investment going in and out of businesses.
Let's talk about, tell me specifically, what does that mean?
Oh, they'll have someone come in, and particularly if they need a large infusion of cash, they'll bring in a partner.
Okay.
And so it's a matter of, well, how much money are they getting relative to how much of the company they're going to own?
Yeah.
So you need to work out an agreement, and how do they fit into the management and control if you bring them in? Because a lot of times people will come in and they'll dangle a fair pile of money in front of you and say, well, I want 51% of the company. Or I want to have a veto essentially on what's going on. You need to think very seriously and talk with your attorney about, is this a good idea? Am I really getting my money's worth?
And I hope you guys are listening to this, because taking money is one thing, but giving up control is something altogether different. And I personally am someone who, I believe that one of the cardinal principles of doing business is always position yourself to be in control. And if you're running the business, you got to be the jockey on the horse, and 2 jockeys. I've never seen 2 jockeys ride the same horse. I don't know
or win.
Or win.
Yeah,
if they are riding the same.
Even if they are, they don't win.
So I personally like to reserve control. Even if I give up, there's some structures where you can put together where you can reserve control and not have the bulk of the interest in the company. And I think that sitting down with your attorney is something that you definitely want to cover these things with. And Paul, as you said, a 2-page agreement that you get off of one of these fancy legal sites, and we won't say anything about any one of these,
Good for you,
but don't
John.
zoom to the internet and go and print off one of these documents and think that it's just going to be good everywhere. I mean, am I right or am I right?
That's absolutely right. I have never met an entrepreneur who didn't want to control what was going on with that because it was their baby, it's their idea.
That's right.
And you can do it from a minority position, 25%, 20%.
Some people don't think that. They don't think that, though. They think that the magic number is 51% if I'm going to maintain control, and that's not the case.
That's right. But you need to have not only some veto power over what your investors are going to do.
Certainly.
You have to be able to stop them from booting you out, which has been known to happen.
Well, I mean, there's a small little outfit called Apple Computers
that
happened to. A young man started that
yep,
firm.
Absolutely.
Fruit
company.
Yeah, it was a fruit company.
That's right.
And he got booted out of the very company that he built.
Absolutely.
I mean, how disheartening can that be?
Yeah. I remember a guy here in Houston had a little outfit. He had an idea that people wanted to carry around computers many years ago. And so he liked the idea of the really compact computer, and sure enough, the next thing you know, these people throw this guy out.
Wow,
it's absolutely amazing.
So it can happen if you're not structured properly, and structure is very important. If you're not structured properly, then you could be one of these people that we're sitting here talking about right now. If you're not working with an attorney, if you don't have someone that's on staff, we definitely encourage you to give Paul a call. And Paul, if you want to give him your telephone number again,
713-328-2832.
And your web address
is hwa.com.
And again, the name of the firm is Hughes, Waters, and Askenase. I love saying that last name. What is that? French or something?
Yeah, what is it?
No, it's Central European.
Okay, yeah, Askenase. All right. Hughes, Waters, and Askenase. Now, we're coming up on a break, but before we do, I want to just sort of introduce something that you mentioned a minute ago that was interesting to me. So if I'm starting my company and I happen to use money out of the joint checking account with me and my wife, or girlfriend, does that also give her interest?
No, you'd have to be at least common law married.
At least common law married. So in Texas, we have that. So, but if I use those funds to start that business, she's now a partner in what I'm doing?
Well, she has kind of a hidden interest. I mean, she doesn't actually get 50% of the company.
Okay.
But whatever you get out of it, she's entitled to half of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And there's some of the things that I'm sure that when you sit down with a client, they probably start thinking, I didn't even think about that.
Everybody is surprised by that one. You
Yeah.
never think about community property because we all live with it every day.
Sure.
But yeah, there's
Right.
some real interesting things that come up with it. Home lending too,
That's outright girl power.
Oh, absolutely.
When we come back, we probably ought to talk about a couple more horror stories that you can remember.
Yeah, pick up on some of those during the break. Folks, you're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by RingCentral.com. To get RingCentral's virtual PBX for your business, you can give them a call today at 888-716-5022. Straight ahead, more with Paul Kellogg right after these messages.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
With my Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus headset, I'm free. Free to talk to you while carrying a laptop bag, holding a cup of coffee, and fishing for my car keys. Now, you may ask me, Jim, is it really necessary to use the phone while doing all these things? And my answer is it really necessary not to? Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus. It's my so comfortable, why wouldn't I use it all day headset.
Get your Voyager Pro Plus at Plantronics.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Our guest today is Mr. Paul Kellogg. He's a partner in the law firm Hughes, Waters, and Askanase. And if you're in small business and you need some help, somebody to review some contracts, talk to you about corporate structure, or listen to your strategy and make some advice, or give you some legal counsel as to how you should structure or run your business, you can give them a phone call. And again, that number is 713-328-2832, and you can ask for Paul. He'll be more than happy to take your phone call and talk to you. Now, Paul, tell us on your list, what are some of the biggest mistakes, the most common mistakes that you see small business people making?
Well, number one is to either not have a contract in writing or to do it personally instead of through their business where they have some legal protection.
Well, wait a minute. What do you mean not have? You said contract, but not in writing. So it's an invisible contract?
It's oral.
Oral contract.
Yes, and as we said, it's worth the paper it's written on.
An oral contract.
And that's not me. That was Samuel Goldwyn, I think,
wow.
way back in the 20s.
Is that right?
Said that. Yeah, an oral contract's not worth the paper it's printed on.
Wow.
So, and that's very true because you can't prove it.
That's right.
You don't know what
how
the
do you
terms
prove
were,
it? Yeah.
You know?
I forgot. We all forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had amnesia. I didn't know.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And all those promises that you got from this person are going to evaporate right along with it. Right along with your money.
And I tell you what, I'll always forget what you didn't mention.
That's exactly
that's right.
And that'll wind us up in court probably.
That's exactly right.
So that's number one. I mean, what are some of the others that people would do well to just, make certain that they always follow?
Just the simplest little thing. If you get an official document that says IRS on it or it says state of Texas or whatever, don't put it away. Open it up and do something about it. Because they don't send you love letters. And it's not Valentine's Day, They want your attention. And if you cooperate, if you call them and say, oops, then they'll work with you. They're not evil. Mm-hmm. But if you ignore them, they will get unhappy.
They'll get your attention.
Yes, they will get your attention one way or another.
And one of the biggest things I see as it relates to the IRS is those payroll taxes.
Oh, yeah.
Don't borrow money from the IRS, man.
And that's essentially what you're doing. So.
That money you owe them folks, man, and they are good at collection. Let me tell you.
And they'll come and get you personally regardless.
That's right.
They don't care what kind of business structure you've got. They'll come after whoever's responsible, and if you have a title, you're responsible.
Yeah.
I mean, you do not want to play with them with taxes.
So if you're an officer of the corporation, you're going to have to answer.
Officer or director.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, I don't have to pay the feds, or I don't have to pay my unemployment taxes. And that's another big thing. A lot of people have been playing this game of what's an employee, what's an independent contractor.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're starting to crack down on it. They have been for a while. And
this is the Department of Labor?
No, Texas.
Oh, Texas
Workforce Commission.
Okay, all right.
Because you misclassify them, you say, I'm independent contractor, I don't owe unemployment taxes, I don't owe all this other stuff.
Right.
They are not happy with that, and there's some fairly clear rules. I mean, we all know what an employee is and what's not.
If you're telling me what time I need to be there and paying me a set wage and some of those other factors that you can do the test on your people.
And a lot of people have been playing that game and got away with it for years, and now they're getting a really ugly surprise.
Wow.
So
now, on another note, if we can switch gears just a little bit. Now, you're an entrepreneur yourself,
right?
And you are in the bar business, craft beers.
That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, first of all, what is a craft beer?
Well, in the last couple of years, all of these microbreweries have come up, and they make their own specialized kinds of beers, usually high flavored. So it's a better quality than what one would buy by the billion case over on I-10. And so it's become very popular. They've sprung up all over the country. And just in the last 2 years, there's probably 12 breweries that are opened in the Houston area.
Really?
Yeah, from Conroe to Galveston to right out on I-10 in the Heights. They're just all over the place.
And this is becoming popular.
So a micro, let me be clear, because a micro brewery is not a still.
No.
No? Not the same thing?
No, you're still not allowed to do that.
Okay. All right.
Although you can make legal moonshine in some states, which is interesting.
Is Kentucky one of them?
I don't know. but this, and we were a regular beer pub.
Okay.
I had the place for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
It's been that long. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, was it the rigors and pressures of being an attorney that just drove you into the bar business? You're like, man, I got to not only buy me a drink, I got to have a place where I can get a drink for free at the end of the day.
And I'm going to make the drink that I'm going to drink for free.
Well, that's right. That was part of it. And it was... there was a friend of mine I met in law school, and I was one of the older students, and she was, I'm sure, the youngest. She couldn't even drink when we went to law school.
Wow.
And then we went through school. We got out and worked for the same little firm together, and went to another firm, and we were just joking around that, wouldn't it be fun to own a sports bar? And maybe we wouldn't have to work as hard as lawyers.
So now you got the bar, and you're still lawyers.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And, it just turned out that we were talking about this, and somebody came to me and said, this place that you've been going to as a customer for all these years is now for sale.
Oh, wow.
And so I know this place. I've been thinking a long time about what I would do if I owned it.
Certainly.
And there it popped up. And at the same time, I ran into a guy I hadn't seen in 20 years who was in the bar and restaurant business, and he said, I'm back in town and I need a job. And I was like, this is heaven sent.
Wow. The pieces are just
coming. We had the money, the management, everything's there.
And so what's the name of your business?
It's Hans Beer House.
Beer House.
Right. It's over on Quinby, which is just off of Kirby and Sunset in the Rice Village.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that area. Man.
Now, how many different kinds of beers are there, or is there one kind of beer? Or?
Oh no, there's literally hundreds, probably 500 breweries in the U.S. And the ones locally all have 4, 5, 6 varieties each.
Okay.
And how many do you carry?
Yeah.
We have 52 taps. 52 taps. And about another 20 beers in the bottle.
Wow.
Which is a pretty good selection. There's a couple of places in town that have much more than that, but we're just a little sort of laid back, funky bar with a beer garden, and it's just a great place. It's great fun. People say it's like being in Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Everybody knows you.
Yeah. Right.
Back,
They call you Norm when you walk in.
Yeah.
They call you Norm.
Ouch. I look like Norm.
Oh no! You said that while we're all on camera. Yeah, he would say that.
But now you've been in business for 8 years, so business must be going pretty good.
It rocks along. Every year's got its challenges.
Okay.
1 year was a hurricane.
Yeah.
That came through.
Yeah.
Another year they tore up Kirby Drive and Quinby at the same time, so you couldn't get to the business.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So there's always something, and we've always had just enough reserves
to carry you
tide us
through.
through whatever the problem was, and it never makes a ton of money, but it supports itself, and I've been drinking free for 8 years.
Yeah. Well, that's worth something.
It is.
Reason
It really
number
is.
857 to get in the beer
That's
business.
exactly
if
right.
You can drink for free, man. That's a good business. Now, again, it's called Hans Beer House, and it's on Kirby and Queen.
It's on Quinby. Which is just off of Kirby Drive.
Quinby off of Kirby Drive, man. Do you have a website for that business as well?
Yep, hansbeerhouse.com. It's HANSBIER. H-A-U-S.
That's the German spelling of beer.
Because Hans, who's a friend of mine, opened it, and he's German-American.
Very good. Very cool.
Well, we're coming up on a break.
That's right.
When we come back, it's going to be our short segment, so I want you to kind of think of 2 or 3 lessons you may want to just share with our listening audience as we close out.
Okay.
Absolutely, man. You got to leave our listening audience with some takeaways.
Thirsty.
That's right. Thirsty. Is that the deal? Folks, you're listening to Cruz and Hughes right here on Small Business Today Radio. Dominion Commercial Credit offers business credit and contract financing for small businesses nationwide. You can give them a call today at 800-381-0073 or visit net30credit.com. Hey, folks, don't go away. We're in the home stretch. We're here with our good friend Paul Kellogg. More right after this.
And well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
With my Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus headset, I'm free. Free to talk to you while carrying a laptop bag, holding a cup of coffee, and fishing for my car keys. Now, you may ask me, Jim, is it really necessary to use the phone while doing all these things? And my answer is it really necessary not to? Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus. It's my so comfortable, why wouldn't I use it all day headset.
Get your Voyager Pro Plus at Plantronics.com.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Our guest today has been Mr. Paul Kellogg. He is a partner with the law firm Hughes, Waters, and Askenaze. And if you want to ask Paul some questions about how to run your business more efficiently and legally, you could do so by calling him at 713-328-2832, or you can log on to their business website, which is hwa.com. Now, Paul, I told you I wanted to get a couple things from you. This is our short segment, but I'm going to lead with this. How important do you believe that exit strategy is when you're developing your business?
Well, you've got to plan ahead for an eventuality like that, and it will happen. We talked about the 4 Ds, but
right.
Somebody's going to get divorced, somebody's going to die, some owner's going to die, or become disabled, or want to get out at some point. And you need to have a game plan long before that happens so that everybody knows how this is going to come about.
Yeah.
You need to have a rule book. And with an LLC, it's called a company agreement. They used to call them regulations. But you've got some kind of agreement between all the partners, or all the members, that says when this happens, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to pay the estate. Or here's what we're going to pay this person when they're ready to leave.
And you can decide all of this up front.
Absolutely. And when you're ready to leave, what you need to think about is, am I going to be able to get enough out of this business by selling it or having my other co-owners buy me out? Is that going to be enough to last me through retirement? No. Or into the next thing I want to do?
Good point.
Yeah.
Because a lot of businesses, they depend on your personal services. They're not worth much after you leave.
Yeah.
Or, that thing's just not worth as much as it means to you.
Yeah.
So you really need to think seriously about how you're going to go about that and when. But you got to have the game plan, the rule book, way before that time.
And I want to add that it's okay to change that. I mean,
Sure.
if things are going in a different direction, you can always change it. But I love your point. You want to have that in place.
Living document, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Paul, we really appreciate you coming in and talking to us today. We hope that you come back and share some more of your knowledge with us soon.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Our guest today has been Mr. Paul Kellogg. He's a partner with Hughes, Waters, and Askenaz. If you want to ask him some questions about how to run your business from a legal standpoint, give him a call, 713-328-2865. I'm John Cruz.
I'm Irv Hughes.
And this is the place where we discuss the topics that inspires entrepreneurs from thought to action. So until tomorrow, Irv and I ask that you do a few things for us. Be smart, be successful, and above all else,
be in action.
And Irv and I will see you soon.
Take care.